Welcome here. If you're here, I want to appreciate you for being here because this training, this is going to help you at multiple different stages of your life and also in all areas of your life. So if you're all set, please type RNR, that's rock and roll. I'm super happy to introduce this topic for all our members here, and a little bit of an advanced topic, but it's going to have a lasting impact. So everyone, please type ROI if you're ready to just put in this focused effort during the next 30 minutes. That's going to give you a lot of ROI in the long run. So please type ROI if you're ready for that. Okay. So even before we get started, what does mindset mean to you and why is that important to you? Can you all please reflect on that before we start on this? Before we get started on, okay, how do we do this? What's the deal here? Before we get started on this, please look at it. Please answer through the chat box. Why is it important to you? Why did you make a choice to be here right now? That's an important question for all of us to know, first of all. All right. So please click on the chat box and let me know what's the big deal for you to learn about mindset and also build it up. Okay. I'm just curious to know about that. So let me know through the chat box. Okay. And as you're reflecting on that, just ask yourself, what does mindset mean to me? And what kind of role has mindset played in my life so far? Maybe in your career, in your business, in your finance, in your relationship, with your health. So this is a very, very important topic. Okay. So, and also please type soil in the chat box. Please type soil. After now coaching 4,000 plus professionals and entrepreneurs and business owners, what I've seen is, this aspect of becoming successful, being successful, getting to the next level, it's like sowing a seed. Everyone, please type seed in the chat box. It's like sowing a seed. But you know what? Unfortunately, a lot of us, we are just trying to sow a seed randomly in a lot of different places, not even thinking about that very important aspect, which is the soil, which is the quality of the environment where you're sowing that seed. And this is what is happening in the world right now. So they just randomly do things, and they look at everyone else who's achieving a lot of different results in their life, and they panic and they think they're not sowing enough. They keep sowing more seeds, they keep sowing different seeds, but they never care about thinking and asking themselves, am I sowing the seed in the right soil? Is the soil primed for growth? Not many people ask this kind of a reflection question. And in this context of what we're going to learn, that soil is your mindset. Everyone, please type mindset in the chat box. So without having that understanding that, hey, if I have to grow this plant, if I have to grow the seed into a sapling, into a plant, into a tree, into a huge kind of, let's say, a banyan tree, we need to sow the seed in the right soil, isn't it? So that's going to be very, very critical for all of us. So yeah, Suhas, right. Right mindset gives the clarity. Very correct. So now let's understand uh, what is stopping us from taking our mindset to a whole different level. So everyone, please type 3D in the chat box. This is exactly what is going on, like because of so much of kind of volatile situation that's out there right now. So how many of you feel like it's too volatile, so many things happening, unsure about the future and so on and so forth, right? So if you're feeling that, please type I do in the chat box. So what is creating all this issues for the mindset? Let's first of all decode. Everyone, please type 3D in the chat box. 3D. All right. So let's decode what's going on internally for all of us. What is stopping us from achieving that goals, that ambition, the dream, in the context of mindset? How are we thinking at the moment, and how is that stopping us from achieving the results? Let's look at that first, shall we? Everyone, please type BIO. That's bring it on. So I hope you can see my screen right now. So let's unlock the 3Ds. Okay, to start with, the first thing, and this first thing is not just a thought that I had. This is research. This is the reality. Okay, the first thing that is creating not a high performance mindset, but a very fearful, like a kind of not giving the 100% of what you can do every single day at work, in your business, in your relationship, for your health. The one biggest thing is, everyone please type disengagement, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, please type disengagement. So this is one of the biggest reasons why we are unable to break through and take our game to a whole different level. How many of you have seen this research where they are saying that over 70 to approximately 75 to 80% percentage of working professionals, they are disengaged at work? How many of you feel that? Please type yes. 80 percentage of working professionals, if they are disengaged, how do you think their productivity is going to be? How do you think that specific organization is going to build and grow? Becomes very difficult, right? And if you just want to look at personal aspect of things, if you're not engaged, do you think you will ever be showing up as a high performer? Everyone, please type no in the chat box. And the biggest thing is, when you keep consuming so much of random information. Now, let's say the Iran war is going on, right? How many of you are following that? It's a crazy thing that's going on in the Middle East. It's like an inferno that's burning out there. And when you keep consuming these kind of information constantly, let's say they're already in what, day 11 or 12 of the war. Let's say 12 days, if you have been consuming that kind of an information, what do you think your mindset is going to be? Anyway, the things are so crazy. Why be engaged? Why even care about engagement? It can be at work. I don't know what's going to happen 1 month down the lane. So why even engage? Let me just barely go through life. Just be okay doing just the bare minimum of things and see what happens. If you know what I'm saying, please type I know in the chat box. Right. So a lot of us, we are dealing with this kind of a situation right now, isn't it? So how many of you are sensing that the disengagement? Please type yes in the chat box. So that's the first thing. Okay. And the unfortunate reality is, the more we keep consuming those kind of stuff, those kind of information, news and everything, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse there. Disengagement is only going to go up. So now let's look at the second D here, okay, which is creating a very low performing mindset for a majority of folks out there. Okay. So let's say now people are already disengaged. Now add distraction to that. Everyone, please type distraction in the chat box. How many of you feel like you had a certain thing to do, let's say today or this week, but by end of day Friday, you know that there were some spillovers that you should have finished, but you did not finish? Why? Because distraction. Why? Because maybe like 70% of them are disengaged, right? So one, you're disengaged, and now there are so many things going on. You're distracted. Therefore, you're unable to accomplish and move towards the goals and dreams and aspirations. How many of you know what I'm saying? So that's the second big factor that's creating, a kind of a pull, which is pulling us away from the dreams and goals and everything. Okay, if you got it, please type got it in the chat box. So consider the current context. Middle East, war, it's burning. Why be engaged and just be distracted with the news, right? It's so easy to be distracted because it's fearful what might happen next. And with the AI and everything, so many random contents also getting pushed and published to the social media platforms. So easy to get distracted, isn't it? So that's the second thing that's going on, right? So majority of working professionals, business owners, they're all distracted right now. Now let's say we figure out, okay, to how to be engaged, how to not be distracted. Still, there are a lot of folks whom I personally coach also. I know that they are dealing with discouragement. Why? Because maybe over the last 3 years, you were doing what you were asked to do. You were engaged. Maybe you're staying focused. You did what your company, your organization, your boss, your team asked you to do. Maybe you did more than that. But now they did not give you what you asked for. How many of you are in that situation? They probably you did not accomplish the dreams and goals as much as you wanted. Therefore, what happens? The third D. Everyone, please type discourage in the chat box. So we get discouraged and we throw in the towel, as they say, right? Okay, I'm discouraged. I just tried so hard. It's not working. Why keep doing it? How many of you are getting what I'm saying? So that's the third D that's literally creating a very negative kind of a mindset for a lot of members out there. And if you're dealing with any of this, you know what? I honor the struggle that you might be going through. But the thing is, if you just stay in these three Ds, even for a month, disengaged, even for a month of distraction, even for a month of discouragement, the thing is, you might think, oh, it's only 1 month. But the repercussions of that, just like how the repercussions of a war, They burnt all the oil refineries, all the things, right? During this Iran and US war. The repercussions, the world is going to feel it. It's going to not vanish in a day after the war stops, but we will see the repercussions of that, right? Just like that. If you do not deal with these three Ds, if you even leave it for 1 month, the repercussions of that you will see for a long, long time. That will reduce the opportunities that you would want to go for. That will reduce the kind of income that you can earn. That will reduce your leadership and influencing potential, and so on and so forth. So if you got what I'm saying, please type 3D in the chat box. So these 3Ds is what a majority of us, majority of working professionals, they're all dealing with. Disengagement, distraction, discouragement, right? So now shall we look at the 4 A's that can help us, that's going to help you understand, oh, these are the factors that shapes our mindset. These are the factors, if I can be kind of conscious about, if I can be aware about, if I can work through all these factors, it is going to amplify my mindset and make me like a champion. So if you're ready for it, please type 4A in the chat box. Okay, so I'm going to unveil the 4A, and then I'm going to talk about the IC3 framework in a moment. Okay, so please type ready in the chat box. So the first A, I want all of you to know this. Okay, the first thing, this constantly affects the mindset that we have, the self-worth that we have, the way we perceive ourselves and even others for a lot of things, right? The first thing is the aim. Everyone please type aim in the chat box. What is the aim? The kind of goals, the kind of dreams, the kind of aspirations that you have. It's not just about having those dreams and goals and aspirations, but also how frequently do you connect to those goals and dreams and aspirations? If you're getting, please type connect to goals. If you're that disengagement, right? The disengagement, if that happens with your goals, you feel like, oh, the mindset, you don't feel like showing up as your best. If you know what I'm saying, please type I know in the chat box. So have you kind of come across, or even in your own life or in your career journey, has there been some phase where you are just going through the days, just like that? The days were just passing by, and you were never working with a specific goal, an income goal, a career goal, a health goal, or anything of this sort. If you're not working with, you will feel so negative. Like, you'll feel like, what's going on? The days are just going by, the calendar is just changing, but my life seems to be the same. Okay, so everyone please type aim, AIM. That's the first thing. This has a very strong correlation to how you feel about yourself, about the day, about your interactions and everything. Okay, so please type got it. So that's aim, okay? The goal. That's why inside our community, the platform that I've built, one of the first things that you will see as soon as you log in is a goal card. Okay, it's a goal card that it's right in front of you, and it's a reminder constantly about what is it that you're working towards. If you got it, just type got it. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, everyone please type affect. It's like this. It's the feelings, the state of being, how you're feeling. So can you please share now in the chat box, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling right now? Like end of the week, Friday evening, how are you feeling? What's the effect? Like, what's the feeling like? What are the emotions that you're feeling at the moment? Okay, please put that down in the chat box. What is the feeling like? What are you feeling right now? That's the effect, and if the feeling is not in the positive ranges of emotions, if you constantly are gravitated towards the negative range of emotions, nothing wrong with that. It happens to everyone. But the thing is, if you don't know how to pull yourself from that negative ranges of emotions of, let's say hate, and mainly in this kind of a day and age, this time where there is war happening, so many things happening out there, it's so easy to get into that, sucked into that negative range of emotions. How many of you know what I'm saying? Please type I know. And how many of you have experienced this, that you kept watching this kind of negative news that are constantly there on your social feeds, and you kind of ended up fighting with your family or with your friends, or you felt so bad about yourself? How many of you know what I'm saying? So that's the effect. That's the effect, which means the feeling, the mood. And that kind of constantly creates a sense of a mindset for all of us. If you know what I'm saying, please type I follow in the chat box. So we spoke about the aim. The second part of this is the effect, the feelings and everything. And can I tell you a high performance insight for all of you here? Yeah, everyone please type BIO, let's bring it on. an insight is the effect that you're feeling today, the feelings and emotions that you have today is not just today's thing. This is the result of the last 48 hours. What are the things you consumed? How well did you sleep? What did you eat? All of this is creating the effect, knowingly or unknowingly for you. If you know what I'm saying, please type, I got it in the chat box. Okay, please type, I got it. So that's a very important thing for all of us to be aware of. Okay, that's the second A. Shall we go on to the third one? Okay, please type 3 in the chat box. So that's the second A for all of us. The third A is the achievements. Achievements. So can you all please type in the chat box your achievements for this week? Your achievements for this week. And and immediately off the bat, as I'm asking you that question, if there are no 3 or 4 things that's coming up, and I'm not saying you have to go and win a Nobel Prize. I'm not saying you have to become a Bharat Ratna, not just that kind of achievement. Even things that you're really proud of, even like, let's say you showed up here now, right? This is an achievement. You're learning through this content. This is an achievement. So if immediately you don't feel that there's a sense of achievement that's happening in your life, it can be big, it can be small, but that sense of achievement that has to constantly happen, if that feelings are not there, the mindset goes to the negative state. How many of you are getting what I'm saying? So one of the biggest reasons why we constantly, I constantly ask my community members, at least at the highest level, to constantly celebrate the things that they're doing is for this. Because without that sense of achievement, without the sense of that movement and that motion in our life, we feel like nothing is going on. How many of you have had this feeling? Yeah, so this has a direct correlation to your mindset. This shapes the mindset. So that's the third A for all of us. Okay. And the fourth A for all of us is the agency. Everyone, please type agency. It's not like the agency that you have to own or that you own or not own, not that kind of agency. Agency in the world of psychology is, do you feel and believe that you can be an agent of change in your life? Let me repeat. Agency means, do you feel like you have the capacity, you are an agent of change? You can make the change happen. That sense of optimism. You might be going through a very tricky situation right now, but in spite of that, do you feel, everyone please type expectancy in the chat box. Do you feel, are you optimistic about, hey, things can get better? If that's not there, the mindset is constantly drawn into the negative side of things, which naturally diminishes our performance. Yeah, so awareness for Suhas, that's what you want to focus on. And you can also share with everyone, like you can select everyone and share your comments, okay? So nice one, Suhas, good to know that. So I hope this is clear for all of you, okay? These four A's, knowingly or unknowingly, is shaping our mindset. How many of you are following this? And how many of you is like, oh, I never thought about mindset this way? Yeah, please type awesome in the chat box. So that's the part, okay? I'm just trying to tell you what's going on in the world, the 3 Ds, what is shaping our mindset knowingly or unknowingly. And now let's understand how or what should we do to build that champion mindset. Are you ready for that? That like the advanced mindset framework. Everyone please type, I am ready in the chat box. Okay, so let's look at that, all right? So we looked at these things. Now I'm going to give you all the IC cube, the IC cube framework, which means, and even before I'm going to unveil this IC cube framework, I'm going to draw a few things for all of you. Okay, everyone please type okay. Everyone please type lens. Please type lens in the chat box. So let's build the lens. Okay, so this is the lens. This is you, by the way. Let's draw you first. Okay, so this is you, and this is your lens. Okay, this is your lens. The lens through which you are going to look at, you consciously, subconsciously, that you keep looking at outwardly. Okay, if you got it, just type yes. So now there are 3 things. Okay, there are 3 things I want all of us to constantly have an understanding about. So the first thing is, of course, the first thing, I'm just going to draw like a Venn diagram kind of a thing. There are 3 things. Okay, so this first thing is your self. Okay, let me just write that here. Okay, this is the self or the you part. The first one is yourself. Okay, which means through the lens, you are constantly looking at the world through the lens of you, which means your identity. It can be the self-worth, your memories, everything, right? That creates the self. Everyone please type self. So that's one thing that will through the lens, you keep projecting into these three areas. Okay. The first thing is the self. The second thing is the social. Everyone please type social in the chat box, which means the people in your life, your circle, the people you work with, the people you hang out with. Okay, the social part of your world, the social part of our world. And the last one is the world itself. Okay, so I want all of us to have this in mind as I'm going to unveil the IC Cube framework. Okay, starting with, I'm going to give you all the context here. And let me just write these two symbols here before I go on. Symbol one, symbol two. Okay, so what does it mean? What is the first I here? Everyone, please type intent in the chat box. The intent, right? So I just want to ask all of you this. If today morning, when you woke up, if there was absolutely no intention for yourself, how do you think the day is going to turn out? Let me repeat. If in the morning, as soon as you woke up, you browse through multiple social media feeds, you checked your emails, you checked the traffic information in Bangalore, and then you started off to work, you returned back. What do you think the intention you had for yourself? Positive or negative? Yeah. So this intention, right? This intention, was it positive or was it negative? And if you're not consciously creating positive intent for yourself, we're looking at these three areas now. Okay, intent for self right now. If you're not positive about the intent you had for yourself, let's say you're getting into a very tough meeting and you are constantly thinking, oh, my boss thinks that I'm so dumb and stupid, I don't know what I'm going to do in this meeting. How do you think you're going to show up there? Not as your best, right? So now let's look at intent in through the lens of social. Through the lens of social. Now you're getting into a meeting, and let's say you feel like, oh, these guys, my bosses, everyone here in this organization, they're just here for office politics. Why should I even be attending this meeting? If that's the intent you have about the people you work with, how do you think that's shaping your mindset? How do you think your engagement is going to be during that meeting? How do you think you're going to perceive those guys? Why show up as my best? Why waste my energy? I'm just going to go there. Whatever he says, I'm going to go. I'm going to just do it and just get out. That's it. Yeah, if this making sense, please type me MS. And if your intent of the world is, oh, there is war-like situation, we are so close to one more kind of a recession kind of a thing. Why even care about taking on more tasks? Let things happen and then I will see. If that's the world view, if that's through this lens, and when you look at the world through this lens that you have, this is your eyes, you're looking through the lens. And when you look at the world, if that's the intent you have, such a bad world, so much of chaos, I don't think the opportunities are going to come by. What do you think is going to be your intent? How do you think you're going to show up? Very, very, very poorly, right? So if you know what I'm saying, please type, I got it in the chat box. So the intent for yourself, people you work with, or even the world, if that's not great, and when I say if that's not great, it's not about just thinking about it, it's about building a habit out of that. That's why in our community, we constantly work on our micro performance habits. Why? Because if this is not happening, no wonder your mindset is not even created. It's just randomly shaped. You're not shaping it intentionally. So that's the first thing for all of us. If you got it, just type awesome in the chat box. Okay, that's why I said this is an advanced mindset strategy that I'm going to be sharing here. Okay, so that's the first concept for all of you. That's intent. Now let's open up the next one. Okay. The next one for all of you is intelligence. So on a scale of 1 to 10, can you tell me what do you think is you feel about your intelligence? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you feel is your intelligence level? Like, how do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? If that rating, you may not tell me here, but internally, if the rating is low, the mindset, the performance, the goals, the dreams, the aspirations, the one of the reasons that's not kind of manifesting in the right way in your life is because you don't feel you're intelligent. If this is a bulb on, please type bulb on. I felt it many times. I felt like, oh my God, look at the way this person is performing. I'm so dumb. How am I even going to be even in kind of a race towards the next level or the growth or the promotion when I'm dealing with so many amazing people when I'm so dumb? If that's the narrative going on in your head, you cannot perform. You just cannot perform. Now, the other factor is, okay, you know what? That's fine. I don't have a great, I'm just saying, let's say if someone thinks of themselves like this, I don't have a great intelligence. I don't feel like I'm that good. And the people that I'm working with, they are so stupid and dumb. They're only into, some random chit chat and news and updates. And the whole world, I feel like with the war and so many things going on, I think there are so many dumb people who are ruling the world right now. If that's the narrative you have in your head, what do you think? How do you think your mindset is shaping up? Positive or negative? But instead you feel like this. Hey, you know what? I've gone on through so many things in my life and I'm still here. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to be at my best. I'm still getting coached, trained. I'm ready to perform at my best because I feel that intelligence, not just as a person, I believe in that intelligence, that spirit in me that's infinitely intelligent. And what a world that we have already created. Just imagine 100 years back to the kind of growth that we have created in this world. Why? Because people around us, so amazing people, so many advances that has happened. That's the social intelligence. Like that socially humankind is so intelligent, and the world that we have created. Imagine trying to survive like in the cave, like a caveman, versus now living in your own houses with internet and we connecting like this. Do you think it would have been even? This is it's a dream, right? But the thing is, if you don't have that kind of thought process about the intelligence, you will not be a high performer. You will not be engaged. You will be easily distracted. You forget all of this. You will not have a lot of reverence for life itself. If this is making sense, please type MS in the chat box. So that's something that we all have to be really, really aware of. Intelligence. Okay, it can have a negative thing. It can have a positive thing, and if you're not intentionally working on it, we don't know. We most probably know it tends towards the negative side of things. Okay, so that's intelligence for all of us. The next I for all of us is the interaction. I tried this today at work. I did this in my business today. I failed miserably. I suck. I am so bad at this. I can't do this ever. When my English teacher called me to the stage during my ninth standard, and she said, "You're going to give the vote of thanks to an auditorium full of people." I felt like the first thing that came to my mind is, hey, Mr. Karthik, you can't even stand in front of your own classroom, which has 24 members. What the hell are you going to do standing in front of an auditorium full of people? How many of you are constantly having this kind of a negative talk to yourself, a lot of times without even knowing about this? Before I got into the leadership roles and everything, I used to tell this to myself: you can't lead. It's such a you can't lead teams. You're not built for leading teams. You know what happened because of that? 2 years, I never asked for the next role. Why? Because the interaction that I had with myself was negative. How many of you are following this? Yeah, the interaction that I had was not positive, but it was in the negative side of things. So the interaction that you're having with yourself and the interaction that you have with people in your team, people at home, if you constantly feel like such a dumb fellow, such a dumb question to ask in a meeting. How many of you have actually done this? How many of you have actually thought this in a meeting, saying this dumb fellow, he or she cannot even spell this English word correctly. How the hell she or he dares to be my manager? If that's the energy that you're bringing into your team, how do you think your interaction is going to be with people? And if you feel like, oh, the whole world is, the interaction, just look at the wars, there's so many chaos are happening in the world. uh, I don't want to be involved in all of this. I'm just going to keep scrolling on social media platform, do random things, and see how it goes. That is total disengagement, because you never clarified how you need to interact with yourself, with others, or with the world. How many of you have seen, it's very prevalent, especially in this day and age, teenagers, you ask them something, the first thing they would do is they will just go shut down, or lock themselves up inside their own room. And they say that, hey, it's such a waste of time discussing any of these random things. Why even do that? You know why? Because their mindset is, I'm not trying to paint a wrong picture about someone or some category of individual. I have done that. I've done that many times in my life. If the interaction that you're going to have, oh, this person is always challenging me. Why even kind of care about, answering this question to this person? How many of you have felt this? Your boss asked you something to do, they gave you more work. Then the interaction in your mind is, oh, you know what? He keeps dumping so many things to me, and I don't get promoted. I just don't get the hike or anything. Why even care about performing? How many of you have had this kind of a thought? Please type got it in the chat box. So the interaction that you're going to have in your mind about yourself, the interaction that you bring socially, the interaction that you feel about the world, has a very strong correlation to the mindset that you're shaping for yourself. Making sense? Please type MS in the chat box. So those are the three E's, and see, all of this, it can have a negative connotation or a positive connotation. And based on that, we shape our mindset. And by the way, mindset, it's not like just because if you feel negative, it doesn't mean you're negative. Okay. Everyone, please type dynamic in the chat box. It's a dynamic. In fact, this is actually a dynamic lens. This lens which I wrote, right? This is a dynamic lens. Okay. Sometimes we feel like we have that negative thought about certain things, and sometimes it's positive. But the thing is, we need predictability, right? We need to know, oh, this is where I am. Oh, this is not helping me. How do I get back to my best self? That's high performance stuff. If you're following, please type got it. So that's the first three I here. Okay. And now let's look at the three C's here. Okay. The three C's that we have to keep focusing and working on. Again, I spoke about the agency in A. It's very close to that. The control. The control. Okay, let's look at this. Okay. Let's look at the self-control here. Control about yourself, control on yourself, control about the thoughts that you're having, control about you know, the emotions that you're feeling, control about, oh, I'm not feeling so great emotionally. How do I flip it? Like, let's say reframe it or think about it differently and get back to more positive ranges of emotions in the moment. That's emotional intelligence, right? So that control, in a broader perspective, do I feel that I have control over the situation and I can be, as I said, the agency, the agent of change in this situation? If you feel like such a difficult thing to do, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can learn this and complete it in 1 month. If that's the feeling because you felt I don't have control over this, the mindset will not be that great. You're not building a great mindset through that. And if you feel, oh, you know what, I just, let's say in the context of a software engineer or, someone like that, a big problem happened in, let's say, in the production environment. Okay. And you feel like your team cannot handle it. And you're constantly asking them and calling them and disturbing them and asking, are you done? Did you finish and everything? Because one, you feel they do not have control on the situation, and you feel like you need to have more control of the situation. You just flare it up a lot more. If you've seen someone doing this, please type, give me a smiley in the chat box. That's why, when people micromanage, when I see a lot of people micromanaging others, they want that control socially, because one, they don't feel like others can have control over the situation, or they haven't worked on their mindset in a way, and also their skill sets in a way that can have help them stay in control and also put others in control. The current situation that we're dealing with, control about the world. Oh, Iran war, Israel and US versus Iran. So much of the world is out of control. Yeah, the world is out of control. So I don't want to be engaged today at work. I just want to chill. I just do the bare minimum. I don't want to do take on more things. Let me just go by. Just let the day just pass by. And by the time you will realize, it is 2, 3 years already gone. Why? Because you never cared about working on yourself when it comes to control. You never cared about delegating things to others because you wanted social control. And you never, had that gratitude to the world saying, hey, you know what? Even God forbid, the world will be a much better place if we don't poke into everything that nature does for us, isn't it? Because we want to control so many things that if we just let go of that control, even with the world, the world itself is going to just run much more beautifully. If you know what I'm saying, please give me a smiley. Okay. So that's about the control part of this framework. That's the next one. Okay. The next one for all of us is the capability. And I'm going to go a little fast on this. The capability is, okay, self. Uh, let's say someone, one of the biggest reasons why someone was so amazing as an individual contributor, when they get promoted to a lead, a manager, a VP, a director level role, the biggest reason they can't fare that well is because, one, they feel like they're not capable of handling that level of pressure or expectations or whatever that is, capability, right? And if you feel like, oh, the people that I work with, if you feel like, hey, they're so capable, I just have to hold the space for them, I just have to facilitate and make sure they perform at their best, you will show up differently, you will perform differently. But if you feel like, hey, the capability is so low for my team, which might be the situation, but in spite of that, if you work with that kind of a thought process always, you will not push your team to go for the next level. You will not think big. You will just be in the firefighting mode rather than creating a vision and building a beautiful future. Same thing applies to the world as well. Capability. Okay. If you got it, just type I got it in the chat box. So that's the next thing that we all have to be mindful of. And the last part of this I cube C cube or IC cube framework is the change ability. The change ability. Everyone please type change in the chat box. Change, one of the biggest, we say this, right? The change is the constant thing that happens. But I have seen, after coaching, as I said, 4,000 plus professionals, I see that change is not so easy. One, because they don't feel like they have the control on it. If I change, I don't know how my family is going to perceive me. If I change, I don't know what's going to happen to the team. If I change, I don't know if I will have the job or not. A lot of those things that happens, right? So people never tend to take the next step towards changing, one, themselves, or working towards, two, changing socially, or social, the interactions that they have. It can be changing their team, helping change the family members, like in a positive way, right? Or if they feel like, oh, the world is changing towards all the wrong things. I don't feel like this is the right thing to do for me. Let me just do whatever I am asked to do, and then I'll just be done with it. So all of these factors, if it's viewed through a positive framing, you will have a better mindset. But if all of these factors, if you are looking at through a negative framing, the mindset is not shaping up properly. For how many of you this is like the decode that you wanted when it comes to the mindset? So everyone please type decode in the chat box. Yeah. So what we realized is, majority of working professionals, business owners, we are all either disengaged, we are distracted, or we are discouraged. Why? Because we don't put ourselves out there, raise our hand and ask for help and say, hey, you know what? I'm dealing with this. Help me, coach me, mentor me, guide me, take me to the next level, because I don't want to waste so much of time. Not many people make that courageous decision. Why? Because of it can be one or more of these factors. For example, if they feel like, hey, I cannot control this kind of a change. If I go through, this process of building my high performance habits, I feel like I will lose control when it comes to my work, because I may have to spend a lot of time here. That's not a reality, but I'm giving you a perspective here. Okay, how many of you are getting this? So, when you are given an opportunity, analyze or look through this lens and ask yourself, positively reframe through this lens and ask yourself, hey, what can I do in this moment that can take my game, my performance, my influence to a whole different level? Because the changeability, right? The ability to change, the openness to change, the openness to have, change. By the way, change happens in two ways. Everyone, please type two. Externally, something happens, and then you make a decision, and then you change, or the drive comes from within, saying, hey, you know what? I'm barely experiencing my max potential. I'm really curious to know what is my top potential looks like. How does my peak performance, my high performance, what does that look like? For that, you need to make a decision so that you can change. And if you're someone who's not yet part of the community that we are building together, the Career Excellence Hub, if you want to be part of that, if you want to be part of the highest levels, so that this just doesn't become a theory for you, but you practically work and build advanced mindset, which I'm pretty sure we are not taught throughout the education or the employment system. But if you're someone who wants to do that, please type ready in the chat box. Because if you're ready, I just want to share a form. It's only for people who understand the importance of what we are doing, who understand that, hey, in order to sow the seed, it's not just about the quality of the seed, the quality of the soil, the environment, the sunlight, the watering, the people who take care of it, everything matters. And only then the seed will sprout, it'll become a small plant and then a big banyan tree. If that's something you're ready and willing, I'm sharing this form, and please look into it and fill it out only if you're really serious and committed towards practically working and building your high performance habits, your advanced influencing skills, because this is the need of the hour. This is the need of the hour when so many people are disengaged. Let me tell you this, okay? Even a little bit of a marginal improvement in your engagement, people in your team, they will be like, how is this person doing this? A lot of coaches whom I interact with, they call me and say, I can't sustain this level of performance that you go through for a week. How are you doing it year after year after year? Starts with mindset. Build habits, build skills, and you will see yourself. You can also do some magical things. Okay, so if you got it, just I've got it. So I've just shared this link for any of you who's really serious and committed towards building yourself up to a very different level, to a level that you will not recognize yourself if you do it even within 30 days. So please fill this up, and we will reach out to you and help you, guide you, serve you towards amplifying your advanced mindset, your advanced habits, and also influencing skills and strategies. Thank you so much. I know this had to be like a little smaller session, but I was a little bit in the flow, and I really want to appreciate you for being here and playing along here. So thank you so much. I really appreciate and grateful for you being here. So on that note, have a great rest of the day. Rock and roll, and it's time to amplify your performance. It's time to be excellent, because the world is a little bit volatile right now, and we need amazing people. And you can do it when you work and build your mindset, your high performance habits, and better skills. So thank you. This is Karthik signing off for the moment. I will meet you later. All the best.